morning, everyone, and welcome to this presentation this morning on the Disabled Students Allowances. My name's Leanne Herbert, and I'm a member of staff who works in the welfare and wellbeing teams here at De Montfort University. And I'll be taking you through a number of slides over the next 20 to 25 minutes to tell you everything that you need to know about accessing support through the Disabled Students Allowances. As you can see on this slide here, we have got some contact details for you. So do take note of those, and we'll be sharing lots and lots of different contact details that will support, that you can use to access for support on your academic journey with us. So you can see the email address there, healthydmu@dmu.ac.uk, and we would encourage you to follow us on social media, so on Twitter and on Instagram. So do look for us at healthydmu, and in any activity that you do with us, do hashtag us at healthydmu. So let's get started. So there is lots and lots of different support available for you whilst you're students with us at DMU. So that includes things, as you can see on the slide here, like accessible learning environments, support from within the faculty that you're studying in, but also support from within the library, and the library has a specialist disability team within it. We have a central disability advice and support team, as well as a central mental health and wellbeing support team. And as well as those individualised supports that you can access, we also deliver group-based activity, including our Healthy DMU masterclasses. And our Healthy DMU masterclasses are available to you every week for you to attend to develop skills and confidence around being a really productive, healthy and happy student, but these skills obviously will be transferable into the workplace once you've graduated. The main focus for today, however, is to talk about the DSA, or the Disabled Students Allowances, and you'll hear it spoken about in both ways. So if you ever hear the term DSAs, we are talking about the Disabled Students Allowances. Disabled Students Allowances is additional funding through your funding provider for support. It pays for support if you have a disability. Now, disability is an umbrella term that covers a large number of conditions. And so, as you can see on the slide here, we've listed a few, although by no means is this list exhaustive. And the reason why we want to highlight this to you is because we recognise that lots of people live with conditions, medical conditions, specific learning differences, things like dyslexia, or mental health conditions, and they don't necessarily see themselves as being disabled, and that's absolutely fine. What we want to highlight here is the fact that these are conditions that would potentially be eligible for the Disabled Students Allowances. So don't just hear the word disability, is my advice, and think that this isn't support for you, and recognise that it covers a lot more conditions than you might think. So as you can see on the slide here, we've listed mental health conditions as being eligible, sensory disabilities, so so deaf students or students who are blind or with a visual impairment, students with a physical disability, whether that be a wheelchair user or lots of other conditions, MS, ME, for example. Medical conditions, so we've listed sickle cell, epilepsy, diabetes on here, but the list is much larger than that, as you can imagine. Learning differences like dyslexia, dyspraxia, dyscalculia, autism, ADD and ADHD. But like I've said before, this is by no means all of the conditions. There'll perhaps be many more that aren't listed on here. So if you want to check out, if you live with a condition that isn't on here and you want to check out if it's a disability that would be eligible for the Disabled Students Allowances, then do get in contact with us. and I'll be sharing contact details with you as we go throughout the rest of the presentation. So what is the Disabled Students Allowances then? So as it says again on the slide here, they are non-means tested grants. So it doesn't matter if you're in receipt of any other funding or benefit. All you need to be able to show is that you live with a disability, as just mentioned before, and it pays for the individual support that's been recommended for you to access whilst you're at university. The other thing to know is because it's a grant, any funding that you receive through the Disabled Students Allowances isn't asked back. So you don't have to pay that back. And if it provides you with things like, you can see on the right-hand side of the slide, equipment or assistive technology, you don't have to give that back either. So it pays for these things or contributes towards the funding of these things, but then once you've graduated, you get to keep all of that equipment, as well as assistive technology and ergonomic equipment. So it might be specialist seating, specialist desks, specialist computer equipment, say, for example. It will also provide funding for you to be able to access one-to-one specialist support, and that could be specialist study skills support if you have dyslexia, for example, and also if you have ADD, ADHD, autism, or a mental health condition, then you can expect to receive specialist mental health or autism mentoring again during your course of study. One of the biggest things to note here is that students who are eligible for the DSA and access it go on to get better degrees. So there's definitely an incentive for you to access the support if you're not, or you haven't even made an application already. So how do you apply? So the application process can happen in a number of different ways, but ultimately you will require some evidence to support an application. And this evidence is usually in the form of a letter from your GP or a specialist, someone who you see for that particular disability or condition, or it might be if you've got a specific learning difference, something like dyslexia, for example, then the report that provided you with that diagnosis. Now, we recognise here at DMU that that can sometimes be quite challenging to obtain. So if you want support from us to help you to get that evidence, then we'll do all that we can to support you to speak to your GPs. We have forms that we can pass on to you. They're downloadable, so you can even Google them so that you can give that to your GP or specialist to let them know what it is that you're seeking in terms of evidence for your application. Now, if you're already in receipt of a tuition fee loan and things like that, so you've already got student finance for your course, most of you will now have that as an online portal. So within your online portal, you can then activate the Disabled Students Allowances process from there. But you can also download forms, as you can see on the slide here, by different web links depending on who your funding body is. So we've listed a few here. So England, Wales, Northern Ireland, and Scotland. So like I say, you can either do it through your online portal or you can download the forms. And if you'd like support from us to support you to do that, then please do get in contact with us. We recognise that it's a tricky process sometimes to find forms or to find what it is that you actually need to do. So do let us know if we can help you with that. Once you've applied, so once you've sent your application off to your funding body, so Student Finance England or Student Finance Wales, for example, with your evidence, that will then be processed and they'll make a decision to say whether or not you're eligible for the Disabled Students Allowances or not. And if they say that you are eligible, they will invite you to have something called a study needs assessment. Now, a study needs assessment sounds a little bit scary, but rest assured, they're really, really friendly, informal meetings with someone where you get the opportunity to talk about all of the things that would be supportive for your academic journey. And this is where the decisions are made about the different support that you can access. So on that slide where I talked about specialist study skills support, specialist mentoring, equipment, software, things like that. This is the assessment where they would identify the support that would work best for you for your particular academic journey. Now, you can have these assessments done all over the country, but DMU just so happens to have an assessment centre on campus. So if you're already partway through your Disabled Students Allowances application and you've been invited to have a study needs assessment and you're not sure what to do next, then please do get in contact with our Study Needs Assessment Centre, the DMU CAN, the Centre for Accessibility Needs, so that we can get you booked in and get that appointment done and dusted for you as soon as possible. Now, the Centre for Accessibility Needs isn't just open to current DMU students, it's open to anyone who's looking at going to university. So we're a centre for anyone to come and have that assessment done. And as you can see, the contact details are on the slide here for you. So there are lots of different ways you can let us know here at DMU if you have a disability or a medical condition or a learning difference, something like dyslexia, or autism. Like I say, I won't try and remember all of the conditions because, like I say, the list is endless. So you can tell us anytime during your course of study. So some of you might have told us already. Some of you might have told us on your UCAS application form, or some of you might have told us as you have enrolled. The biggest thing for you to know is that we use that information to reach out to support you. We don't use it for anything else. So please feel assured that if you do tell us that you have a disability, that we are going to reach out and discuss support with you as opposed to anything else. The sooner you disclose, the faster, as I've said, we can discuss support with you, and we will ask you for a copy of your medical evidence as well. So that medical evidence then will hopefully be useful for the Disabled Students Allowance application if you haven't already started the process. Now you can tell us if you haven't already done so on UCAS or at enrolment using an online disclosure form. So Holly, I don't know if you're able to put that into the chat. I'm not able to put the link into the chat for some reason, but hopefully during the session you'll get access to the online disclosure form link. But if not, and you would like to disclose, as you can see within the slide here, there are two contact details for you. So the disability team is disability@dmu.ac.uk, and the wellbeing and mental health teams can be contacted through wellbeing@dmu.ac.uk. So do email them if you want to get in touch and you haven't already been in touch with those teams. Just want to come towards the end of the presentation now with just a few top tips for you to take away. So disclosing as early as possible will hopefully open up the door for you to access support sooner rather than later. The Disabled Students Allowances application process itself can be quite lengthy. It can take 3 to 4 months, which is why we encourage you to apply as soon as you possibly can. But as it says here, please don't panic if you've not started this process yet, or you're partway through it and it's not completed yet, we are ultimately here to support you through the process, and also to support you whilst you're waiting for that support to come through. And there's a wealth, as you saw at the very beginning of the presentation, a wealth of different support that you can access in the meantime, and also once you receive Disabled Students Allowances alongside of it. So that's enough from me, I would say. I hope you found that useful. But what I want to finish with is just a 3-minute video where you get the opportunity to hear from DMU graduates. So all of the students that feature in this video have graduated now, but it's great to hear their experiences of getting support from the disability and wellbeing teams here at DMU and the Disabled Students Allowances. So thank you for your time this morning, and I'll leave you with this short video. Thank you.
At De Montfort University, we want you to disclose your disability, mental health or medical condition.
We want to ensure that your individual support package is in place for the start of your university life. We may meet with you face to face, talk over the telephone, by email or social media. The choice is yours.
We can discuss government funding and university support that you may need. We'll listen to you to build your appropriate support. We want all our students to have a positive experience. We want you to feel comfortable, to disclose, be supportive and thrive at De Montfort University.
Don't just take it from us. Here are some of our students who have done exactly that.
I applied for support because I had tried several attempts to complete a degree at university and it wasn't going very well.
And they picked up on the fact that I had dyslexia, which I didn't know before.
I was quite sad to find out that I'd lost quite a bit of vision. This is something that did throw me a lot.
They made me feel really at ease about the fact and made me feel really supported, which then at the time I'd then decided that I would disclose my mental health problems.
On one note, I was a bit worried because I didn't want the lecturers to treat me differently.
I was very worried about telling my university what was going on with me, just because of bad past experiences and also because my specific issues were to do with mental health.
But it was more important to me that I got the support from the university and that they considered my medical condition.
At first, I found it really difficult because I didn't know what I was going through. Obviously, I wasn't diagnosed. I was really confused. My body was acting with pain and things, and I just didn't know what to do. And they helped sit down and like comfort me to say that I won't be on my own.
I hadn't really ever gotten the help before or had it pointed out to me that you could get help.
Putting the support in place before I started university was thoughtful. As soon as you start, everything will be in place and you don't have to worry about anything.
Sitting down with someone, discussing about what my needs were and how they could actually be properly catered for was the thing that really helped me feel reassured.
The support meeting, very useful. It told me what I had access to, what the government could provide.
Without the support, it would have been very, very difficult, and I'd have only been stopping myself from succeeding.
I love DMU, I love everybody because they've helped me achieve my dreams, and I wouldn't be here, I wouldn't be healthy, I wouldn't be happy if they didn't support me. Even times when I was in hospital, I knew that I could call on them, make sure that my grades are not affected, so I'm grateful.
From then on, I felt really supported with the team that were here, and I actually wish that I'd disclosed my problems sooner so that I would have been able to access the support sooner.
Disabled student who wants to join university, I would say, don't worry, be more open and explain what you need, what your needs are, and just be yourself.